can I be healthy without being a vegetarian?
So what I would do, so I'ma say no, and this is why I say
You said
no.
no.
I'ma say no, and I'ma tell you why. From a biblical standpoint, if we go back to the beginning in the book of Genesis, after Adam and Eve was created, he gave them an initial diet in Genesis,
Yes.
right? And if you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 28 and 29, it showed what the diet was when Adam and Eve was pure without sin, before they did what they
Right.
did with
Right.
the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
And if you read it, it said that he gave them fruits, and vegetables, and these things shall be meat unto you. So we see what the original meat was. It was
Yeah.
actually the fleshly material from fruits, vegetables, herbs, melons, nuts, and seeds like that. He even gave the animals a specific diet, which was the herbs. So at that point in time, in the beginning of creation, nothing death not in the world yet.
Good grief.
Right?
Yeah.
So since death not in the world yet, that means sin wasn't in the world, because sin brings on death.
Right.
Right. So at that particular time, they were at their most healthy stage before it was entered into the world, and they were on a vegetable, plant-based diet without. Right.
Yeah.
Then when you start getting into Genesis chapter 4, I believe, you see Cain and Abel, and then the offering that went up,
That's
and you
right.
see what Cain was doing through sin. Now you start seeing these meat offerings come, and then you see meat really get heavily in the scriptures in Genesis chapter 9 after Noah. And that's
Yeah.
because all the vegetation was flooded out. So
Right.
so things like that. So, and then we supposed to rehearse things to come, right? So if we rehearsing the kingdom of God coming to heaven, and we going back to the Genesis, because God comes to restore us, to restore the original covenant,
Yes.
then that means we're going to go back to that same diet. Revelations actually talk about, when we in the new kingdom, it talk about this tree that's in the midst of the kingdom that grows these manners of fruits, and the leaves is for the healing of the nations, and
That's
we're
right.
eating. That's a vegetarian frugivore diet. In the book of Isaiah, it talks about the prophecy that the lion will lay down with the lamb and the sheep.
That's right.
So this means the lion is not going to be going after sheep anymore, because even the animals are going back to that
On the
same
roll, man.
diet.
Yeah.
So when you start really looking at the restoration of God and what
Yeah.
he's doing with his people, he wants us to be in our ultimately the healthiest possible. I don't see that happening with the corruption of meat, and because you have to keep animals. And then just on a scientific level, just not going away from the spiritual side, but
Right.
on a scientific level, if you look at these meats, they getting all of these into them.
Yeah.
Right? They growing them way too quickly, and then we eat these, and we start taking on this very same animalistic nature.
Yes.
And then Paul talks about it all the time, about how you're not supposed to make your belly your God.
No, that's
And
right.
and we see our people, especially our people, they wake up with food on their mind.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, they wondering what they finna eat next. And it's
Right.
like, it's so many things that you could be focused on, but you distracted because you want to fill your belly. So to answer your question, me personally, I don't believe you can be completely healthy on a meat diet.